Have you ever felt a surge of frustration wrestling with a stubborn package? Or maybe struggled to assemble furniture that seems designed to defy logic? We've all been there. It's easy to blame our own clumsiness, but often, the problem lies not with our skills, but with the design of everyday objects. Many things we use daily are surprisingly poorly designed, leading to unnecessary irritation and wasted time. Let's explore why this is so common. One major factor is the pressure to make things cheaply. Companies often prioritize lowering production costs over user-friendliness. A simple example is packaging. Those incredibly difficult-to-open blister packs. They are cheap to produce, but incredibly frustrating for the consumer. The same applies to many electronic devices. Screws that are too small, cables that are too short, instructions that are unclear, all are cost-cutting measures that directly impact the user experience. Another reason is the focus on aesthetics over functionality. Sometimes, a beautiful design simply isn't practical. Think about those sleek, minimalist remote controls with tiny, hard-to-press buttons. They may look elegant, but they are terribly inconvenient to use, especially for people with dexterity issues. This pursuit of stylish form over practical function often leads to frustration and compromises the user's ability to easily interact with the product. Then there's the problem of planned obsolescence. This is a deliberate strategy to make products that will become outdated or break down relatively quickly, forcing consumers to buy replacements. This isn't always obvious, but it's a significant driver behind frustrating designs. Imagine your favorite coffee maker. It could be designed to last much longer, but it might involve slightly more expensive and stronger parts, a choice a company might avoid in order to boost its sales. However, it's not always intentional malice. Sometimes, poor design is simply due to a lack of user testing. Companies might create a product without properly considering how real people will actually use it. A common example of this might be a website or app where the navigation is confusing or difficult to understand. A little bit of careful testing could easily identify these issues and allow the creators to remedy them before the product launches. This emphasizes the value of including real-world user feedback in the design process. Another major aspect is the lack of standardization. Have you ever tried to connect two seemingly compatible devices, only to discover they aren't quite compatible after all? Inconsistent standards across different brands and products lead to enormous user frustration, particularly when dealing with technical items like cables, adapters, or software programs. The lack of universal standards requires extra steps and purchases, thereby increasing the consumer's cost and level of inconvenience. Consider the humble light switch. Most are designed in a way that makes it challenging to tell which way is on and which way is off, without looking very closely. It's a small detail, but it adds up to a collective annoyance over the years. This example shows how tiny choices in seemingly simple items can cause a buildup of minor frustration. It's also worth considering the psychological aspects of design. Things that are intentionally difficult to use, like excessively complicated instructions or convoluted processes, can create a feeling of inadequacy in the user. This is a kind of intentional manipulation, designed to make us feel we need help or support, often in the form of additional fees or services. The cumulative effect of these poorly designed objects is significant. It leads to wasted time, increased stress, and a general sense of frustration in our daily lives. It's not just about individual products, it's about the system that allows these things to happen and the general lack of focus on creating user-friendly experiences. But there's hope. Consumer awareness is growing. People are becoming more vocal about their frustrations and demanding better designs. Websites and online reviews offer platforms for expressing discontent with poorly designed products, thus forcing companies to listen to these critiques. A heightened awareness of these problems could help drive change and encourage companies to prioritize user experience over short-term profits. The fight against frustrating design is not just about individual purchases or complaints, it's a matter of advocating for a better, more user-friendly world. By understanding the reasons behind these infuriating designs, we can become more informed consumers and put pressure on companies to create products that are both functional and enjoyable to use. We can all choose to support companies which prioritize user experience and usability in their products. Small conscious changes in our purchasing decisions can significantly improve the overall user experience of products in the future.